Have you ever stopped to think about what you'd do if you could go back in time and save the person you loved most? Hold that thought, because this isn't just some philosophical question. It's the question that destroyed the universe. Barry Allen, the Flash, the fastest man alive, spent his entire life carrying a wound that never healed. He was just a kid when he found his mother dead on the living room floor, blood everywhere, his father in handcuffs, accused of a crime he didn't commit. And Barry? Barry was left alone, trying to convince the world that a yellow lightning bolt had torn through his house that night. Nobody believed him. Years went by, decades. Henry Allen rotted in prison while his son became a forensic scientist, then a hero, then a legend. Barry saved cities, saved dimensions, saved people who didn't even know they needed saving. But every time he closed his eyes, he saw his mother's face. And here's the detail that changes everything. Barry discovered who killed Nora Allen, Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, a speedster from the future who hated Barry with an intensity that transcended time itself. Thawne traveled centuries back with a single purpose: to destroy Barry Allen's life before it even began. Now imagine, you have the power to run faster than light. You can break through the time barrier like walking through a door. And you know the exact moment your life shattered into pieces. What do? Barry did the unthinkable. He ran faster than he'd ever run before. The world became blurs of light around him, past, present, and future blending into a spiral of pure energy. And when he finally stopped, he was back at that night, that house, that moment. And this time, he didn't stand there watching. Barry intercepted Thawne, stopped the fatal blow, saved his mother. Take a deep breath for a second. Sounds like a happy ending, doesn't it? The hero wins. Mom lives. The trauma erased. Except the universe doesn't work that way. When Barry woke up the next day, nothing was as it should be. His mother was alive, yes. His father was never arrested. But everything else? Completely wrong. This new world had a name: Flashpoint. And Flashpoint was a nightmare dressed as a dream. In this reality, Barry never became the Flash, never got struck by lightning. He was just an ordinary guy living an ordinary life. Sounds good? Wait. Without the Flash, Central City had no protector. The villains Barry defeated over the years, all still out there causing destruction. The friends he made, they didn't recognize him. Cisco Ramon was an arrogant billionaire. Caitlin Snow had vanished. Joe West could barely look at him. But the worst was happening on a global scale. Without the Flash to balance the scales, the world collapsed. Aquaman and Wonder Woman were at war. Not just any war, a war that was literally sinking continents. Western Europe no longer existed, millions dead, and the conflict only kept escalating. The Batman of this reality wasn't Bruce Wayne. Bruce died in that alley that night in Gotham. Who survived was Thomas Wayne, the father, and Thomas became a brutal, dark Batman who didn't hesitate to kill. Martha Wayne? She lost her mind from grief and became the Joker. Let that sink in for a second. Batman's parents alive, but corrupted by the tragedy of losing their son. A world where the heroism we know simply was never born. And all of this because Barry wanted to save one person. The most devastating part is that Barry started to notice. The memories from the original timeline were fading away. Every day he spent in Flashpoint, he forgot more and more of the life he had. His friends' faces, the battles he won, the man he used to be. He was becoming a different person. And if he didn't do something soon, the original version of Barry Allen would simply cease to exist. Now put yourself in that situation. Your mother is alive, having breakfast with you every morning, smiling that smile you spent your whole life trying to remember. But the price for that is a world on fire and your own identity dissolving like sand between your fingers. What do you choose? Barry went looking for Thawne. The Reverse Flash was trapped in Flashpoint too, but in a cruel way, he remembered everything, knew exactly what Barry had done, and he was waiting, with that smile only an intimate enemy can have. The conversation between them is heartbreaking. Thawne didn't need to lift a finger to win. He just had to wait for Barry to understand the truth on his own. There's no shortcut through pain. You can run faster than light, cross through time, rewrite reality, but you can't escape grief. You can't erase a loss without creating others. The universe demands balance, and when you try to steal something from it, it collects with interest. Barry had to make the most impossible decision of his life. He needed to go back in time again. He needed to let his mother die. It's not that he wanted to. It's that he understood some pain we have to carry. Some wounds exist to shape us. And trying to erase our suffering sometimes means transferring that suffering to others who don't deserve it. The scene where Barry says goodbye to Nora is quietly devastating. He hugs her knowing he'll never feel that embrace again. Looks into her eyes knowing that in moments, she'll be ripped from the world again. And he'll have to live with that again, forever. He runs back, lets Thawne finish what he started, and Flashpoint crumbles. But here's the final stab. When Barry returned, the timeline didn't go back exactly as it was. Small changes, altered details, different relationships. The universe remembered what Barry did, even though he tried to fix it. Flashpoint teaches us something we pretend not to know, that love and selfishness sometimes wear the same mask. That the best intentions can create the worst consequences. That being a hero doesn't mean having the power to change everything. It means having the wisdom to know what shouldn't be changed. Barry Allen saved the world countless times, but his hardest battle was accepting he couldn't save his mother. And maybe that's the loneliest race of all. Moving forward, carrying the weight of what you lost, knowing you could have changed it, but chose not to. Now tell me something. If time gave you a second chance, would you have the courage to refuse it?